I finally watched every season in Game of Thrones, so here's every season ranked from worst to best. The first time I watched this, I didn't think it was that bad. I was actively enjoying the first 3 episodes. Maybe it's because my expectations were so low going in, but despite the overall writing of the show being a massive downgrade from season 1, I found it entertaining. I even turned off all the lights in the living room so I could see what's happening in the 3rd episode, although it was still pretty dark at times. It wasn't until episode 4 that my enjoyment started to fade. The scene where one of the dragons is shot down is undeniably dumb with CGI that sucks. The logic starts to get thrown out the window at this point. Sansa starts becoming an annoying character in a way I don't think was intentional on the writer's part. Jon Snow telling his family he's a Targaryen is completely cut out because this entire season is incredibly rushed, and the final scene of this episode was just straight up terrible. Cersei could just end the entire war right here. Just shoot the dragon with one of the 20 giant crossbows you have at the wall and then kill every single major player of the war with an army of archers. This feels like a scene for a superhero movie, not a show once praised for its writing. Episode 5 lowered my opinion even more. It doesn't even make sense for Daenerys to kill thousands of innocent people before going to the castle. I actually like the idea behind that arc, but it's not set up well at all, or she wouldn't have the foresight to see the citizens are not at fault for Cersei's actions. Jaime just throws all his character development out of the window when he was on his way to become the best character of the show. Euron just so happens to run into Jaime at a random beach somewhere. Arya's plot armor is just insulting at this point. And while the episode is well directed and actually kinda nails the Hound's death, it just gets worse the more I think about it. And after that episode, the rest of the season started to look worse the more I thought about it. The fact that nobody died in the long night, the way characters can now teleport to different places, making the world feel small, all the logic surrounding the character assassination of Varys, Jon Snow not doing anything interesting. If it wasn't clear from the fact that this is only 6 episodes long that the writers don't care about the show anymore, the final episode was the final nail of the coffin. The first 20 minutes was fine enough. Tyrion standing up to Daenerys is the most interesting thing he's done since season 5, and this shot was really cool. But the conflict just ends when Jon stabs her, and then you get this awful scene where all the main characters have a meeting, tell cringy jokes, some of the worst dialogue of the show by the way, and then it turns out Bran is going to be king because he has the most interesting story of everyone. You know, not because of intelligence or experience. Nah, this guy fell out of a window, got possessed or whatever the fuck, and now he has no personality. Didn't we have a whole season without him because the story wasn't interesting? Why is Bronn the master of coin? This kingdom is going bankrupt in a week. Just a bad season. It gets worse the more I think about it. At first I thought this was clearly better than season 5. I like season 5, but this was more entertaining, having a lot of battles and stuff actually happening instead of wasting time on subplots that go nowhere. But then I thought about it a little bit more. Characters teleport, the dialogue is trash, the episode of all the main characters meet was cool on first watch, but the more I think about it, it feels like a dumb fanfiction. They also kinda wrote themselves into a corner with Tyrion being Dany's top advisor, because she already has 3 dragons, 2 giant armies, an alliance with the Tyrells, an alliance with Dorne, and an alliance with the North. The Lannisters are in debt, lost a king, and just barely overthrew a religious rebellion by blowing up a part of King's Landing. They are so overpowered that they have to make Tyrion an idiot who is somehow outsmarted by Cersei to make this a fair war. They could have done something interesting. Maybe he secretly doesn't want his family to die, so he's trying to find a way to get them to surrender. Maybe they can make this an opportunity to make Qyburn a bigger player who's secretly a genius. But no, why would they? This is 7 episodes. I like the idea behind Sansa outsmarting Littlefinger, but the way he goes out is very anticlimactic for how big of a character he is. This entire show happened because he killed Jon Arryn. It feels like they just want his death to be satisfying for the audience, with all the Stark kids avenging their father, instead of something thematic or impactful for his character. They assembled the Avengers to go beyond the wall to get a White Walker in the dumbest plan imaginable. The show has used a Deus Ex Machina fallacy so much that it's become comical. Every time an important character is about to die, someone comes in and saves them. In this episode twice with Daenerys and the uncle. The show, once known for having no plot armor, is now the biggest victim of plot armor. The episode everyone praises, the spoils of war where the dragon destroys Jaime's army, didn't work for me because, come on, Jaime should have died there. I like Elena's death scene, and I actually thought Jon and Dany's relationship was very well done for 7 episodes, but this suffers from a lot more of the same problems as season 8. It's a fast and entertaining season, but the lack of filler distracts you from how bad the writing has dipped at this point. Season 6 is overrated. I used to think it was an improvement over Season 5, but some parts of it just suck. Let's talk about the 2 episodes everyone loves, the Battle of the Bastards and the Winds of Winter. The former have some of the best directing in the whole show. That battle looks great, and while there isn't much tension because this is the most black and white good versus evil conflict the show had up to this point, Ramsay is one of my favorite antagonists of the show, and the actor steals every scene he's in. With that all said, Jon Snow should have died. He rode into the middle of the battlefield and tanked a swarm of arrows with no serious injuries, and the plot armor is just so frustrating. You can't have your protagonist make dumb decisions and not suffer the consequences of it. You're basically doing the opposite in Ned Stark here. This is a contradiction to the thing that made Game of Thrones so good, the fact that survival is earned. It just shows early in this battle that there won't be any consequences. It looks beautiful, but lacks the logic and strategy of the earlier battles. The opening of The Winds of Winter is really good, from the directing to the editing to the music, but the rest of the episode isn't amazing. The Jon Snow reveal was really good, but the way the conflict in Daenerys' storyline ends is very rushed and anticlimactic. That's 2 seasons of build-up ended in one scene. Great episodes, don't get me wrong, but not the masterpieces they're described as. The best episode this season is actually The Door. While most of the episode is just decent, like the Red Priestess who shows up, says some foreboding stuff, and leaves just to never come back again is really weird. It has one of the best plot twists in television history. How George R.R. Martin was able to keep this a secret for so long is mind-boggling. It's actually genius writing. I don't think a plot twist has affected me this much since The Prestige. With that said, the Three-Eyed Raven was never explained or even that important to the plot. The Faceless Men aren't fleshed out or expanded upon what we already know in season 5, making the whole storyline feel like a waste of time other than making Arya a better assassin. Daenerys kills a bunch of one-dimensional villains in her 50 fucking of girl boss moment in a row. The High Sparrow is such a waste of time. I always felt like we were gonna learn more about him. Maybe he's just bullshitting and wants power. Maybe he secretly hates all things royalty and that's why he's going after Cersei. But he ends up just being a mediocre character played by a fantastic actor. I can't deny the plot is moving forward a lot faster than season 5, but from the dialogue to the plot armor to the writing, season 5 is just way more consistent quality wise. Speaking of which, I really hate when shows dip in quality like this, but I have to be honest with myself. While being the start of the downfall, I actually really do like the season. The Sand Snakes are the worst characters, and episode 6 stands as the first misfire of the show, but Hard Home still rivals the best episodes of the first 4 seasons. The last 20 minutes is the best the White Walkers have been in the entire show. That's 5 seasons of build-up done well with choreography and writing so sharp that it doesn't feel like plot armor for Jon to survive this. It was also cool to see Tyrion interact with Daenerys, even if this is the last season where he's an interesting character who gets opportunities to show his intelligence. Definitely the best Marine storyline too. Dany finally feels like the underdog again after season 2. The House of Black and White was cool at first without knowing that was all leading to a dumb little chase scene. Maybe Jorah's best season as well. Seeing Cersei humiliated and somehow making a root for her is some brilliant writing. The CGI hasn't aged the best, but the ending of episode 9 is really great. The thing that will either break or make this season for you is Stannis' death. It's either a character assassination or an underwhelming end to his character, but I kinda like it. As a big fan of The Sopranos, I like stories where big characters have anticlimactic deaths caused by their own flaws. Stannis is cool, holds himself by his morals, and is the only king you'll see leading a charge with a sword in his hand outside of Jon, but he was always manipulated by Melisandre. That's his character flaw. That was always gonna be his undoing. I like it, but I feel the execution could have been better to make it feel more like dramatic irony. It's also made very clear that Melisandre actually wasn't lying about her visions later on, so there's that. Still the best of the last 4 seasons. These next 4 seasons are impossible to decide from. While I think The Sopranos is the best series of all time, I'll do a ranking of that show. This video does well, by the way. I think these 4 seasons are the best television run of all time. Maybe Dany's second best season after the first, but after episode 4, it's basically just her taking over a bunch of cities and freeing slaves with not much variety. With that said, season 2, 3, and 4 are Jon Snow's best seasons. He starts off completely loyal to the Night's Watch even after being disillusioned of it in season 1, but seeing the wildlings as real people instead of monsters, actually kind of becoming one, and bringing back that experience to change the thinking of the Night's Watch is his best character development thus far. It feels like he's shafted to a secluded place in the corner of the world where he can't do anything to help his family in their war, but ends up being the most important player of the show. And storyline with Ygritte is really good. I don't think the Reigns of Casimir hits as hard for me as it probably did for people first watching the show. Like everyone who hasn't seen it has heard of the Red Wedding, but it's still a great episode. It feels like something is off from the beginning to end, which makes it twist shocking but not unearned. Also makes sense within Rob's character as he values honor and integrity over what's actually smart and will make him win the war. You also get a lot of Tywin here, more than the previous seasons, and maybe Varys' best season as well. Oh yeah, and Jaime becomes one of the best characters in the show the moment he loses his hand. Never have I seen my view on a character do a complete 180 in just a few episodes. While it's maybe the weakest season for Daenerys, not including the last 3 seasons, it's by far Tyrion's strongest, which is great because he's my favorite character of the show. The King's Landing stuff where he just outsmarts everyone there, has witty conversations with each character, and leads the charge against Stannis on Blackwater is some of my favorite scenes of the whole show. Blackwater is my second favorite episode, just a perfect battle sequence where Tyrion peaks as a character, the Hound starts his character arc, and Stannis is the most plot relevant he's been in the whole show. George R. R. Martin wrote this one and you can tell. Arya and Tywin's storyline is also really good, nice to see those characters interact, and also maybe Joffrey's best season. He's surprisingly really funny.
Will you slay him yourself?
If Stannis is fool enough to come near me. They say Stannis never smiles. I'll give him a red smile, from ear to ear.
Imagine Stannis' terror.
I am trying.
So you'll be outside the gates fighting in the vanguard.
A king doesn't discuss battle plans with stupid girls.
You also get Theon's most pathetic storyline, putting him on a really strong and kind of underrated character arc. While Dany has the least interesting storyline this season, she actually kind of does in every season to be honest, I actually do find this wizard guy to have some pretty cool powers, and the actor makes him very creepy. I just wish the city was more fleshed out, but it's cool enough. And this is when Jon meets Ygritte, and that was all really well done. Season 1 is basically a perfect season, and knew what I was doing right out of the gate from its impeccable pilot to its last couple of shocking episodes. I forgot how likable Littlefinger is in this season. At this point he's one of the Stark's only allies and is actually helping Ned and Catelyn with their investigation, even if it's obviously for his love of Catelyn. He's charismatic and seems more trustworthy than Varys, which makes his betrayal even more surprising. There's a lot of twists in this season. It's starting off as a mystery of who killed Jon Arryn, makes you incredibly invested in the show from the start. It looked like Jaime was gonna be the main villain at first, but it turns out Cersei is more of a manipulator while Jaime's more haunted by his past and reputation. Ned Stark and King Robb make such a strong impression for the time they have, helped by the performances and the show's ability to flesh out characters through simple conversations. Oh, and the dialogue is constantly fantastic. It ranges from witty to clever to just straight up poetry at times. Sam has better dialogue in this season than Tyrion does in season 7 and 8. Every episode would have at least 10 memorable lines in it. Just episode 1 has the things we do for love, Tyrion telling Jon to wear his status as a bastard as a badge of honor so it'll never hurt him. Every dwarf is a bastard to his child, the man who passes a sentence to swing the sword. I'm not even looking it up as I recite them writing this video, and maybe I got a few wrong, but the writing was so strong at this point you did not need any battles. And I mean any because there are no battles this season. It's a show of politics, mystery, moving plot structures, betrayal, and yet it's more interesting than action-packed shows like The Mandalorian or The Walking Dead past season 4. Perfect season, but surprisingly not the best. Maybe an easy answer, but this is one of my favorite seasons of television ever. It's between this, season 5 of Breaking Bad, and season 1 of The Sopranos, but I generally think episodes 6 to 10 are the greatest stretch of episodes in any series. The whole courtroom scene is some of the best drama the show has to offer and really makes Tywin more unlikable than Walter Frey. Tyrion's speech was so satisfying and well acted, one of the best scenes of the show. Mockingbird is another great episode that may not have any great particular moments, but is basically perfect all around. The Mountain and the Viper is such a good example of storylines merging together in satisfying ways. Even outside of Oberyn's shocking death, the character work with Sansa and everything in Jorah's character is very well done. The Watchers on the Wall is the best episode of the show. The fact that the IMDb rating is lower than Battle of the Bastards, The Winds of Winter, and The Spoils of War, the episode has so much plot armor it becomes frustrating, is just absurd. This is a perfect battle. The one take was incredible. The character work of Sam and Jon stepping up as a leader was amazing. The battle tactics are sharp and it comes very close. They are outnumbered, but they have the wall and the high ground, which makes a victory very believable. One of the best episodes of all time. And then episode 10 has a payoff to Tywin and Tyrion's conflict, a very satisfying end with the Hound and Jon also having great moments. Overall, these 5 episodes are such a great run, it's actually absurd. And that's without mentioning episode 2, a cringeworthy episode with a satisfying and deserved ending, starting off the main conflict of the rest of the season. Ramsay is eating of the scenery with the scenes he gets. Jaime is a great character. This is the last season where it feels like Littlefinger's 2 steps ahead of everyone else. It's overall just a damn perfect season. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification to get notified for more videos like this.